and I did was it like 45 to 60-minute keynote, Jace?
60 hour, I think it was.
60 hours. It felt that way. It was only 128
It did feel that way. Sorry.
Hey everybody, it's John Lamilton here alongside my good friend and business partner, Mr. Jason Brockman. We are here for another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast, where as always, it is our job to help you get more customers and make more money without just working harder. So without further ado, let's dive straight into this month's episode.
Today, we are joined by Austin Newberry, owner and CEO of Logspan, a timber building manufacturer that helps homeowners, educational organizations, and the hospitality sector create unique lifestyle structures. Austin is a Scottish family man. Don't worry, subtitles are available. You will need them, of course, for my West Country accent, who says that he still struggles with work-life balance. Austin, welcome to the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast.
Thanks very much, John. Love to be here.
Fantastic. Jace, did I hit our target metric there of offending our guests within 30 seconds?
Yes, you did really well, buddy. I think 30 seconds is probably your record, and you might have exceeded it.
KPI tick.
Well, you did show me, Jace, a video of, was it Dana White just walking out of a podcast because of the introduction?
Yes, so, pretty much that.
That's what we're in for. Anyway, Austin, we are here to talk to you about your business, your lifestyle, the journey that you've been on. And when I asked you to send over your bio, you used this line in here about creating unique lifestyle structures. So I'm keen to dive into that a little bit, because the layperson may not understand exactly how do timber buildings help people have better lifestyles.
I guess it's all about solving the customer's problems. So it comes down to understanding what their needs are, delving into their kind of lifestyle, and understanding what they require in order to make their life better, their lifestyle better. So whether that's they've got too much stress in the family because they've got they can't get away from each other, or they are struggling, spending more time in their business because they're working from the kitchen table. It's just trying to understand that and give them an opportunity to build a structure outside, away, where they can get that peace of mind and at a relatively inexpensive price compared to maybe an extension.
I like that. Yeah, we a couple of years ago we remodeled. We did an extension rather than moving. So again, like I say, the amount of times I've looked out over my garden and just thought, yeah, could just put a little office out there, a little studio. I have toyed with the idea of an indoor swimming pool out there. I will be honest with you. I'm guessing that's not an inexpensive item.
The building wouldn't be, but the swimming pool, yeah.
Definitely. Jace, you've done this, haven't you? You've built a describe what you've got in your garden.
Me and most of those that are able to do it over the lockdown period did have a lockdown structure built in the garden. Yes, which we put together, which was really good. It was a 4x8 meter or something like that. Timber building, log cabin as I think they sell it as.
Yes, yeah.
It's kind of I almost describe it as a clubhouse.
Bit of a clubhouse. That's pretty much what. Yeah, I would call it a clubhouse. Yeah. Kids come around, play poker, and all that kind of stuff in there. It's nice space. It's outside of the house.
Yeah, but it's interesting, is that separation, because you can send the kids off down there, or you can escape from the kids. And you can just separate, almost like you said, separating work and life, isn't it?
Yeah. It was interesting that Jason brought up about the lockdown, because I wish I could get the statistics. I'm going to have to find it, but the separations of relationships and marriages after COVID was released because people couldn't get away from each other. There was that stress in the relationship because of that.
Yeah,
it's having that space where you can separate, have a little bit of you time, me time, and kind of effectively detox and relax.
It is, and that's going to bring me on to, I think, our next topic, which is you've again mentioned that you still struggle with work-life balance, and this is the Ambitious Lifestyle Business podcast. So we are all about the balance. And I don't really like the term balance because I think I wrote in Big Ideas for Small Businesses that, if you have balance on a seesaw, it's not much fun, is it? There's no up and down. And I often talk about it now in terms of a pendulum. So you spend time at one end of the pendulum or the other. And the more you spend at the work end of that pendulum, the more it naturally wants to swing back towards lifestyle. And the more time you spend down at the lifestyle end, I've just had a week off for half term. And by the end of it, I'm craving getting back to work for a break. Can you talk us through what's your journey been? Balancing, contradicting, swinging that pendulum with your lifestyle, your family, plus the business.
I guess I came into the business not necessarily. It's not business I started myself. I came in as my father kind of had the business. I came into it, and because of that, I had a bit more free time. He was the leader. He was the manager, and I just did what I needed to do. Although being a son, you kind of put in a little bit extra all the time. But yeah, being able to take time out of the business, it has been a struggle. There is quieter times. Our quieting times are kind of during the winter time when it's a bit horrible outside. So the idea of going out and exercising is kind of really not appealing. But it's just kind of, I've just struggled. I've struggled with that ability to kind of focus on the family when I've been focus on the family when I'm with the family. My mind just keeps going on about work.
It is. How does that normally manifest itself?
Sitting on my phone.
Yeah.
Sitting on my phone in front of the screen, watching something, and with my phone beside me, with my wife kind of doing the looking at me like that. Yeah. So it's kind of realizing that I'm not spending enough time with the family when I'm with the family, because I'm always as I don't know if it's an entrepreneurial thing where your mind is constantly thinking about potential ideas of what you could be doing, little things to change in the business, etc., etc. So it's trying to kind of make sure I capture those things, because I don't capture them, I forget about them. So it just means that I'm constantly thinking and putting stuff into my phone rather than spending time with the family.
I think it is a natural trait of the entrepreneur to just always be thinking about the business, particularly I think for a lifestyle business entrepreneur, because you often merge or you blur those lines between lifestyle and work, because sometimes you're doing something you love. You are passionate about your business, and the amount of times I hear the line, but it's not really work. What I do isn't really work. Yes, it's what pays the bills, but I love to do it, and I do it even if I didn't get paid by it. I paid for it. But I think we've all cast envious glances at the employed at times, because sure, they may be told what to do. They may have no autonomy whatsoever. They may have a cap on their salary, but they get to leave work at 5 p.m. and not even think about it until the next day, don't they?
Aye, it's something once you crave to get into a business and run a business, and so your effort that you put into the business is rewarded. So it's not a case of effort, and you still get the same base salary. But once you're in there, you realize there is no shut off time. There is no time when you're not necessarily thinking about the next thing. There's always problems to solve.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I know has helped me a couple of years ago, I think it was my book of the year, or I want to say 2021, because I would not have got Evergreen Assets released without this book, Deep Work by Cal Newport. Now, I read this book so that I could do more work, so that I could get more done. Hey, deep work, brilliant. Let's get more of the big, important stuff done. And actually, so much of the book is about creating the space for that big work, or that deep work. One of the big things that Cal talks about is this idea of a shutdown routine. Sorry, got the routine bell. A shutdown routine. This idea that you do the same thing every day, roughly the same time, to just tell your brain we're switching off now and it's time to stop work. So for me, I work primarily off a laptop. I close the laptop lid with the phrase, and we are done. And that is just my little finish. If you think that's weird, James Crow, who was a 1%er on a podcast with us, I think last year, has taken it to the next level. He gets his pen out. You're going to love me telling everyone this, James. You told me this in strict confidence, I'm sure. He gets his pen out, pretends that he's Harry Potter, and waves it around going, "Workus completus." And there we go. Tells the brain, we're done, we're finished for the day, it's time to move on. Feel free to swipe and deploy that any way you like, Austin.
I think my son has got at least 10 wands, so I don't need to worry about a pen. I can go and get a wand. He could probably tell me the spell I require to use. I'll talk to him tonight.
Workus completus.
There we go. Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to dive into, if I could, just before while we're thinking about this, is I spend a lot of time, obviously, with one-to-ones with 1%ers and stuff, and fitting in lifestyle inside their ambitious business is always very tricky and troublesome. And we often relate to Parkinson's law. Work will fill the time that you kind of give it, and if you give it in a definite period of time, then it will take indefinite to do whatever that is. So kind of really wondering, what does the lifestyle part of your life look like? The bits out of work, because I think you just mentioned that I'm sat in front of the screen and I've got ideas popping into my head and probably watching TV, I said. So what could you replace Coronation Street with, for example, which means that you wouldn't be picking off your phone and thinking about business ideas? How can you kind of structure those things? And I think I certainly talked with other 1%ers about specific things to do in that evening that isn't that is a together type activity rather than a passively together type activity. And I just wonder what that kind of looks like for you and how that could manifest itself better, so that you're not letting your mind drift back to work because it's more exciting or interesting than the Coronation Street.
Well, that's one thing I've never got into, thankfully. Coronation Street.
Fair enough.
EastEnders, any of that. More of a Father Brown, Death in Paradise type person, but neither here nor there. I guess spending time with the children, or going for a walk with the dog. So playing a board game with the kids, whether that's Junior Cluedo or whatever. I was trying to remember what the one my son loves at the moment, Funny Bunnies or something like that. Pardon?
Exploding Kittens, I think that's it.
No, I always want to get them into that. I've got that game. I have never managed to get my children or my wife into these. So yeah, board games with the kids, Switch with the kids, going for a walk with the dog. Brilliant idea.
So my natural next question is going to be, like we do with work, and we block the time for work, and it's the stuff that we're kind of doing, checking emails at this time and blah, 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 blah. Do you block your leisure time as well? So actually Thursday evenings is always board game night, for example.
No. I kind of I block time with the children when we go swimming. So I kind of go swimming with the kids. That's part of my routine every Wednesday. So that's if Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Usually it's a Wednesday. Go to the swimming with the kids. That's blocked off. Spa day or spa afternoon with the wife. That's blocked off. Other than that, no, not specific kind of board night games time. Or dog walking generally are just fitted in as required, and then that means obviously sometimes they don't get fitted in because other things come in place. So yeah, I have been trying to do a lot more structured work within the business and have my calendar much more structured, which I think a couple of my one things is to what's the work the plan? No, it's What'd you say, John?
I plan my work, then work my plan.
That's the one. That's I should have. Yes. So that's what I do. I'm trying to do that much better with my business, but then of course that needs to flow over to the work, to the home life as well. But my wife does get upset about how I try to have a routine and have routines. She gets fed up with having routines. She's more spontaneous. So when I say, "Oh, can we just put this in a diary?" No, I don't want to do it. Then it's kind of maybe a little bit of a struggle. So
maybe
yeah,
you don't share that diary with her, and actually it's blocked out in your diary for a Friday night date night. But actually, what we're doing today, we're going out for a date. Here we go. It's all been planned.
Yeah. Keep the calendar. That's not what.
Hopefully, she's not listening to this. It's a surprise.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of routine. I think having a partner that understands how important routines are to you is very important. I think it helps tremendously if you can say, I need this plan, because otherwise I will tend to procrastinate. I will multitask. I want to be present for the kids. So the best way I can be present for the kids is to block it out, is to keep work out of this time. If we're going to do it spontaneously, I'm going to be thinking about the last email I sent. I'm going to be thinking about that last phone call I had from the customer. I'm going to be wondering if that delivery is going to come on time. And that's going to be preying on my mind while we should be playing games. So I'd really like to block that out if we can. And just explain now, I think, why that's important to you.
Yeah. We'll do that. I'll speak to her. I'll speak to her spontaneously tonight.
Your plan to talk to her spontaneously. I like that. I like your thinking. It's one of the things I know we're going to be talking about in the 1% Club on our coaching call tomorrow. We're looking at creating a user manual for those listening to the podcast. Essentially, we're creating a user guide for ourselves. So things like, I like routines. This is how I work. If Mrs. Newberry was listening and creating this, she would say, I like spontaneity. And it's understanding that this is how I work. This is how I operate. I get upset, angry, irritated when this happens. I work at my best when this happens. It's not saying, Austin, you can never be spontaneous. It's just saying spontaneity doesn't come naturally to me. Routine, order, and structure comes naturally to me. If you want me to be spontaneous, I'm probably going to block it in my diary and write down, be spontaneous. That's what I know I would. Friday, 7:00, be spontaneous. But it's understanding how you work, playing to your strengths, and understanding what the strengths and weaknesses are of the other significant people in your life. So that can be your partner, it can be your children, it can be your colleagues within work, it can be your parents, it could be anyone. Understanding, how do they work? How do I work? And how do we all work together without killing each other? So, Austin, how do we do that within a family business? As you've come into a family business, how do you work together with the old man without killing him, or vice versa?
The old man, hasn't it? Who in this case, are we talking about my father?
Yes.
Thankfully, he stepped back. So, I don't know. Let's see, but obviously, I came back into the business with no aspirations to run the business, just to help him run it, because that really did give me fear. But then my mum got ill, and as her health declined, he had to step back from the business and effectively retire within a very short time. So I found myself running the business. So now he retired to down south to Suffolk, and then he's now moved to near Tunbridge Wells. So I get a phone call every day to discuss business matters. But other than that, really, thankfully, he leaves me alone to kind of get on with things in the business.
So
So
so he's fully retired, leaves you to get things on with it, other than phoning you every day to find out what's going on.
I kind of phone him, but the first thing definitely is always, how's the business? What's happening here? What's this? Is this happening? You know, how many sales? It is. How many sales have you had this week so far? That's the important thing.
Brilliant. But
Metrics.
we've already spoken about how difficult it is to let go. So actually, for your dad, because it sounds like he wasn't planning on retiring then.
No.
He was spontaneous about it.
Yeah. So he is a entrepreneur born and bred, really. So I've always been around him with businesses, helping him on Saturdays down the markets, cleaning cars, cleaning boats, doing whatever needs to be done in the business. So yeah, that's effectively what we've been doing as a family. So that's the way I've been brought up.
That always rub off then as a very young child.
Yeah, but it also teaches you maybe not to do things in your family that maybe the way you're brought up. One thing that my dad reminded me, and it probably affected him back then, is when I was a child, I brought a picture home of what I did on holiday. And it was a picture of me, my sister, and my mum down the beach. And this is what we did. My dad wasn't there. So I thought that is something that is really helped me understand on holidays. Holidays are important. And when holidays come around, I spend that time with the family. So although sometimes I struggle with the work-life balance at home, as soon as I leave the business to go on holiday, that is very much, it's for them. And it's taken time to do that. And it's taken processes and plans and bringing the right employees into the business in order for me to leave the business and be happy they will be able to run it. But yeah, that's been important.
That's always going to be a work in progress, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that just that visual element you've got of that picture. I bet you can actually visualize that picture now, can't you?
Yeah. Stick figures, beach, because it was always a beach holiday with my mum. Always with family, going to families. But yeah, it's interesting thinking back and thinking how you've been shaped.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to think. How old are your kids?
Josh is 10 going on 11, and Jack is almost 6.
Yeah. So it'll be imagined, I don't know, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they are young men out in the world of work, or probably in the world of entrepreneurship, because they've been inspired by their dad and their granddad. To think, how will they describe their childhood? Because we all like to think we did a wonderful job, but I think we all mess our kids up in some way.
Definitely.
Whether we are neglecting them or overprotecting them, or just setting them up for failure, or there's a million different ways and intricacies that go into it, but we all just do the best we can. But it's interesting that, I listen to your story there, and I think about my own parents, and I think about other sort of famous examples I've seen, and there tends to either be, I do this because my parents did this. My dad instilled this discipline in me, and that was great. Or I'm going to do the complete opposite of what my parents did. Richard Branson's a great example. So Richard Branson, I'm so resilient and self-starter because my mum abandoned me 5 miles from home when I was 6 years old and made me find my own way home. Great, but you do that to another child and it ruins them. Arnold Schwarzenegger is another one. Just listen to his second book, Be Useful, and he talks about the impact that his dad had on him. His dad was very, very strict, very disciplined, very authoritarian, and that shaped Arnold to make him disciplined, to make him do the work, to be the best he possibly can. But his brother, it led to him shrinking back into his shell. The same parent, the same upbringing, but a different character reacted and resulted in a very, very different life. And he ended up, I think, becoming an alcoholic and dying in a car crash. And it's just the two polar opposites of the same family in the same household with the same upbringing. It's you can do the best job you can as a parent, but ultimately it's down to you, isn't it, to interpret that in your own way.
Yeah, and it definitely does make you think about, as you said, I guess it's not how to bring your kids up, but just not how to screw up their lives in one way, shape, or form. Yeah,
I think there is a book I've read. I think it's called How Not to Screw Up Your Kids Too Bad.
Too bad.
It's not full stop. It's not too bad.
You're gonna do it, but yeah.
You always do it. You can't help, but there's always something they're going to hold against you. But I guess it's as long as the thing they're going to hold against you is the right. It's you do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Because
again, if you look at that, so that picture, and your dad's not in the picture, but you still went into entrepreneurship yourself. You were still driven to become an entrepreneur. So it wasn't all bad. So what lessons, what principles of entrepreneurship did your dad instill in you that are still with you today?
He's a really different, I guess, a drive. Always thinking about money, always thinking about the bottom line and making sure it works out for the business. But he was a really different type of entrepreneur and really old school, and a very much kind of, it was his way or there was no other way possible.
Isn't that every entrepreneur?
Well, I like to think that my employees probably know their job better than I know their job. And I'm very much a case of, right, okay, I'll let you get on with it. And if I think it's the idea is, if someone else can do 80% as well as you can do, it's 100% better than you having to deal with it yourself. Something like that. So if there's things that I can pass on and let somebody else do in the business and not micromanage them as they do it, I am quite happy to let them deal with it. He couldn't let go. I'm possibly the other extreme when I am maybe too easily let go of certain aspects of the business. And it's trying to kind of see the overall understanding of what's happening in a business. As we discussed today, knowing the numbers and the metrics of what's happening in order to you can help them do their job better.
Yeah.
I think subconsciously or consciously, that's a decision that's been made for you or with you in your head, kind of thing, coming from that photograph with your dad, to be fair, because actually, if you continued with the same mantra that he did, if you did things that he did it in the way he's done it, you'd be in that same position too. You'd be able to hand over. You wouldn't be able to lead for 2 weeks to go on holiday, 3 weeks to go on holiday. Whereas actually what you've done is you've consciously or subconsciously made that decision to get a team, get them doing better than what you can do, put that in around you so that actually you can extract yourself from that business. So again, that maybe, I don't know whether you'd know whether that was conscious or subconsciously happening, but it's just an interesting thing actually, because even taking you back to that picture with no dad in on the holidays, and now you've created a business where you can do those holidays. Just whether that's conscious or subconscious.
Yeah, I've no idea. I have no idea. I guess there was a conscious decision that I want to spend time with my family, but probably unconscious reason behind that. But and it's just a kind of understanding that he's a very different person, and I couldn't live up to. I don't want to live up to him. I couldn't fill his shoes. I have got to run the business a different way, because there's no way I could do the way he has done. His memory for numbers is incredible. I can't do that. His way of doing the maths in his head, brilliant. I need to always have my phone with me, use a calculator, spreadsheets for keeping everything, and a calendar to make sure I remember to walk the dog.
But again,
So-
it is knowing how you operate best and how your dad operated best. And
Yeah.
he ran the business the best way he was capable of doing, and you're running it the best way you're capable of doing. When did he retire?
Probably just before I kind of met you guys originally. That's probably one of the reasons I started reading lifestyle books. So 5 years ago or thereabouts, 5-6 years ago.
Okay.
It doesn't seem that long ago, but yeah, I kind of came back. I was in the business when I was early 30s, and then I left and went into education and became a teacher for about 5 years, and then decided to come back. But I was only back for maybe about a year before her illness became apparent, and they both exited the business at that point. So yeah, maybe 6 years ago, 5 years.
Was there a point that you can put your finger on when it stopped becoming your dad's business and it became your business?
Probably not. Probably still doesn't.
It is still dad's business.
It's yeah. He built it up. I'm running it for him, and I make the decisions. But yeah, I still struggle to think of it as my business because the members of the team members within the business that still remember him running it, and they will pine for the way he dealt things, even though maybe that there was more conflict at that point.
Yeah, they're probably back in the days when it was just yellow pages.
When times were easy, when we used to sell everything through eBay, and you could sell 10-15 cabins a week on eBay simply. Yeah, those were the days.
Yeah, exactly. We all look back at the olden days with rose tinted glasses, don't we?
Yep.
Fantastic. One of the things I wanted to have a quick chat with you about, Austin, because I know we've been talking. You've been one of our boardroom members. So for those listening to the podcast, this is kind of what I've described as the 1% Club on steroids. It's an in-person mastermind. We've just this morning done a 2-on-1 grilling. You've had Jason and I holding your feet to the fire this morning. But one of the things that I know came out of our first boardroom meeting was that you wanted to become better at public speaking, professional.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know that you are very, very early in your journey here, but I know you've had a few kind of courses, a few lessons in that. So I'm keen to just dive into that a little bit, because I know we will have people listening to this who would also like to become better at public speaking. So I'm just curious, what are those big foundational building blocks that you have started learning as part of your public speaking journey? We're not looking for you to become Tony Robbins and deliver a keynote speech in front of 50,000 people, but what's step one of becoming a better public speaker?
Where I went to deal with to learn about public speaking, it was you learnt the system. So how you delivered it, the idea was that you couldn't remember a 25-minute speech.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you remembered where effectively you were going to stand on stage and what you had to deliver at those points, then you would be able to effectively talk about anything, because you were just remembering the building blocks. You're talking about the pain points, the effectively the goals of the speech, the bridge between the pain points and the goals, and the fact that your system was going to be able to tell them about that. The point where you talked about your story and leading into that. So it was just learning the system on how to deliver a speech, and through that you could deliver any speech, and that was the idea. And having been able to know the system, you should have confidence in being able to speak about pretty much anything,
because you're following a pathway, a framework.
Yeah. And it's interesting because once you do that, any speech or any presentation you watch, you can pick up, all right, All right, she's going to talking about pain points. Oh, there's the bridge, and she's going into her story. So you can see that pretty much everyone goes through. It's maybe not exactly the same process, but all these public speakers will go through a set routine, and a lot of these set routines will make up the same block. So once you know those blocks, you can talk about pretty much anything and sell anything, from whether it's stage or, in my case, I will talk on. The idea is, for me, is to talk on stages, but I want to be able to sell through webinars and have that more confidence to talk and to be able to help more people. That's get our message out there. That's the reason I kind of wanted to learning public speaking.
What I found really interesting there is, again, I'm thinking about my own public speaking journey, but also a few other people I've seen learning. Everyone thinks it's all about the micro. It's all about, right, the first time I got on stage, I printed off 4 sheets of A4 and had them dotted around the place with bits of blue tack so that I wouldn't forget a line, because that's, I don't want to forget where I am. I don't want to forget my place. Whereas actually it's really nothing to do with the micro. Yep. It's to do with the macro. It's to do with what are the big building blocks. Okay, I'm telling my backstory. I'm talking about the benefits. I'm doing a bridge, and it's just knowing. And I again, for those listening to the audio version, I've just kind of moved my arms around and I'm putting different places on the stage. When I stand here, that's this story. 1% Live last year. So we did a live event in a hotel in Bristol, and I did was it like 45 to 60 minute keynote, Jace?
60 hour, I think it was.
60 hours. It felt that way. It was only 120.
It did feel that way. Sorry.
But I have progressed now to the point whereby I can do a 60-minute keynote based off the slides. So I see a slide, I know what I'm talking about here, and I know what the next slide is. Next slide, cool. I'm telling that story. Okay, I'm building up to this. Oh, I'm making points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're on to this. Whereas old me would have been, where are my sheets? Where's this paragraph? Where's the story written down perfectly, word for word, for me to narrate? When I was learning, one of the trainer said, right, you're all going to speak today, like day 1 of the course. You're all going to go up there and do 2 minutes. And we went, oh, can't do that. Right. And again, he sat there and said, right, get the building blocks. There's your building blocks. You're going to basically storyboard it. Then you're going to get up there, no notes, and you're going to do 2 minutes, because you know the storyboard, you know the building blocks. And this one guy refused. He was like, I can't do that. I have to. And he had his script, and it was a script on his laptop. And he said, I need to have the laptop. And okay, take laptop up. So he took it up, and he's reading it line for line, exactly as it's, and he's looking at the laptop. There's a sea of people out here looking for him to interact and engage with them. And he's looking at his laptop, reading off exactly what he's written down. He's not engaged. And the coach just went, put the laptop down. He went, no, I cannot. Put the laptop down. And he said, oh, right. So he put it down. And then he delivered a really engaging speech because he knew the content. Yeah. And yes, all right, it wasn't word for word, pitch perfect as he'd written down, but it was engaging. And he was actually talking to us face to face, based on the building blocks that he knew. So yeah, that's really interesting. That.
Well, thankfully we were thrown in at day 1. Day 1 we had to do a very small talk. Day 2, we had to give a 5-minute talk, at which I refused and actually left the room at that point. I just couldn't. The fear, it was maddening, because it was just a total build-up of fear to the point where it was just impossible to even think about it. The panic, that's it. It went to panic. And then day 3, 25 minutes. Yes, I forgot where I was, but one of the other participants just said, right, you're at this point here. And I was, oh yeah, okay, I'm at that point. Right, okay, this is what I'm talking about. But it's just, it's having those bits in place, because you will forget where you are in your story, or you will forget of what you're supposed to do there. But if you know the blocks and where you're supposed to be on the stage that will help you figure out and get back into where you're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah. How do you overcome that fear, though? Because that's what stops most people, isn't it? Is the fear.
It's doing it. It's doing it. Because, similar to you, we weren't allowed anything to read off. You couldn't. You had a sheet on of the building blocks behind where we were talking, but other than that, there was no notes. And it was just a case of getting up there and knowing that everyone was in the same position. And even though I knew that in the second day, I still couldn't cope with it. I kind of knew a little bit more of the process, and I just had forced myself to actually go through with it. I'm not going to look back at the video of it. I've recorded myself. I'm not looking back at it because I cringe at the way I'm acting because I'm so nervous still. Yeah. But I did it. And I know that next time I'm going to do it, I'll do it better, to the point where, as you suggested, going and getting practice at Toastmasters. So over the next couple of 2-3 weeks, I will be kind of looking into that and joining that and kind of trying to get more practice in order to become a much better speaker. Because the whole point is being able to help the customer, sell the product, but help the customer. And if I can talk better and help people, then that's the nature of the business.
Absolutely. It is communication. It's not about delivering a pitch and perfecting that pitch. It's about engaging with the prospect, with the customer, relating to them, and being able to effectively communicate, as you said, the benefits, the problems that you're overcoming, and ultimately what's in it for them.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we are early doors in, but I'm going to ask you, has Boardroom been as scary as we marketed it to be?
Yes. The grilling. Has it been scary? Yes. But is that beneficial to myself and my business? Absolutely. It has forced me to contemplate what needs to be done in order to take it forward. Last year, I was very much reactive to things. I had an idea, a plan, a goal in place, but I didn't put the building blocks in place in order to get to that. This, although I know what I need to do, going through the boardroom is making me do what needs to be done. It's, as you say, holding my feet to the fire to do what I need to do, the tasks, in order to take the business forward to another level. And that's the plan.
Yeah. I think we, certainly from our point of view, Jace, we marketed it as it will be scary, it will be uncomfortable at times. You'll often wish you hadn't signed up for it. I did wonder if I'd gone a bit overboard on the negative side of things in the marketing, but I wanted to be very clear that actually we are here and we are creating an environment whereby we want you to succeed, and ultimately we are helping you to create clarity around the few things that are required, those building blocks that are required to take you forward on your roadmap for 2024. We're going to help you plan your work, but then we're going to make bloody sure you work your plan.
That's it. And you talked about it being scary. All right, there's that side of it, but there's the side of community, because obviously it's Boardroom has the one-to-ones with yourselves, which is really beneficial. But it's also that sense of community with the other Boardroom members, and being able to share ideas and kind of get information from each other and learn from the way they're doing things, because they work in a completely different sphere and a completely different market from myself, and things that they do in their market will help me. So it's that mastermind community that is working there. It's brilliant.
Very good, very good. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today on the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. Before you go, one final grilling question for you. We ask every single guest, so you'll know it's coming now. It's called the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. What does an ambitious lifestyle business look like to you?
One in which your business fits around about your life, I guess, and not the other way around. Your business should work around the way you want to live. And that's what I would say.
It's a picture of the family, stick drawings, stick figures at the beach, and the business
all together.
The business isn't in the picture.
Yeah. The business has provided the method to get to that beach.
Absolutely.
But it's left behind with the other members because they can get on with things. Yeah.
Absolutely. Love that. Cool. Austin, if anyone would like to get in touch with you, what is the best way they can do that?
Through our website, logspan.com, or info@logspan.com. So yeah, we deliver our brilliant, unique timber structures, as you said, throughout the UK and beyond. We've had an inquiry from Barbados, so I'm looking forward to go over there to do a site visit soon. We will see.
Someone's got to measure up, haven't they?
Yeah. It's a difficult life. Yeah. info@logspan or logspan.com.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us, Austin. And thank you, dear listener, for joining us once again. We will see you again next month for another episode of the Ambitious Lifestyle Business Podcast. See you later.
So there we are, another episode in the can. How was it for you? Please let us know. However you listen to these podcasts, please leave a review on that platform. Let us know what we can do better, what you like, what you don't like, and how we can improve to make this show even better for you. We'll see you next time.